Hello, welcome back to the Oracle SQL tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about a couple of interesting questions. And the first question is this. So let's say here is my employee table. And in my employee table, I have employee number, e-name, and department number. And I have department table where I have department number, department name, and location. So if I query from my employee table, I will get about everything, just everything about employee and then the department number. But the question I'm asking here is that write a query that will give me information about employee and the department where they work. That means what I want is from this table I want employee number, e-name, and also I want the location where they work. Right? So essentially if I cannot get, if I do select from this table, I cannot get the location, and what I need to do is I need to probably get some information from this table and get some other information from this table. Okay, so my the point here is that simple select from one table will not fetch my corresponding data that I am looking for. Alright, so how do you solve this problem? To solve this problem, you have to, since you know that some columns are in this table, some columns are in this table, then why not we are going to do something like select. Let's see in this slide. So why don't you do something like this? You select employee number, e-name, and then department number, and also you get department number, location, and then you select from two table. Okay, so if you do this, so this is basically what my common sense is telling me, right? So let's basically get all this thing from this thing, and if you run this query, and then you are going to get the resulting output will be something like this. So what is happening is that I am getting so here in the resultant data set, what I am getting here is that looks like for every employee. Okay, so the employee number 7839 King, and this department for because we have 14 rows in employee table. Okay, so for each of the and then we have 4 rows in department table. Okay, so 4 rows in department table, 14 rows in employee table. So the answer of this query is looks like a Cartesian product of these two tables. Okay, so the Cartesian product of this table, and then what we are getting here is that we are getting 7839 King, 10 10 accounting New York. Well, this is not definitely what we are looking for. Is we are looking for 14 rows, because I asked in the previous question, what I asked is that get me the employee number, employee name, and the location where they work. So if you ask yourself the question, is that King is working in department number 10, and department number 10 is New York, so this answer is probably correct. But is this answer is correct? Blake, whose department number is 30, and then department number 30, if you look at this table, department number 30 is in Chicago in sales, right? So looks like this thing is wrong. Okay, again Clark, his department number is 10, and 10 is accounting New York, so looks like this is again correct. Okay, Jones working in department number 20, but department number 20 is not in New York. Okay, so let me basically get the department table so that this will be easy to visualize. So okay, so now let's do this thing. So Jones is 20, and so this is not correct. Let's take any row. Jones 20, department number is 20, and then he is in Dallas, so department 20 is Dallas, the answer is yes, so this is a correct. But Martin, department number 30, but in department number he is 20, again this is wrong. So what essentially we are going to do, is there any method is there any mechanism by which we can filter? And how do we filter? If we filter using whatever the value of this department number to the value of this department number, if they're equal, then that means that is a correct row. Alright, so that is essentially what is a join. Okay, so by putting this condition, by putting this where condition, what I make sure that I filter wherever I get this column is equal to this column, and then that is the selection that I'm interested in. Alright, so essentially by putting this clause, we make sure that we can answer our question, our question that I asked in the first time. Okay, so basically this is what is called join. Okay, so this is join, and in fact since this is equal sign is there, it is called equijoin. Some people also call simple join. Okay, so this is called equijoin and simple join, and then there's some other terminologies are there we are going to discuss in the last slide. Okay, so this is what is called join, and join is a very interesting concept in RDBMS, and this join is basically happening because we are storing data according to normalized forms. Okay, if you put all the data in one table, then we don't have to join it another table to get this data. Since to make our data less redundant, to avoid redundancy, we normalized. So that's therefore we kept in different tables. And now whenever you want to get the output, get the information from different tables in a meaningful way, so that is where you need to do a join. Join is nothing but a condition that what we are going to give here. Okay, so and this is called equijoin or simple join. So that's what it is. Okay, so let's go to the next question. In the next question I'm going to ask you is this, very simple again. I have a table called EMP, and in my EMP table I am getting employee number, ename, sal, and just like this. And I have another table called sal grade. Okay, so sal grade means if it's a grade 1, if the salary is in between 700 to 1200, then you are in grade 1. If the salary is between 1201 and 1400, you are in salary grade 2. So like this. So sal grade table tells me what is my lowest salary and highest salary for a particular grade, and in employee table it tells me what is my salary. So then the question so if this is the background of the two table, and what I'm asking here is this question: can you write a query to get the employee number and his grade? I'm not I know what is salary, but say for example the answer of what I'm expecting here is that, say, employee name is King and King's salary is 5,000. So 5,000 belongs to this grade number 5. So King is 5. Black, and Black salary is 2850, so that is falling in number 4. So grade is 4, so on. So how do I solve this problem? Okay, so the problem here is we have two tables, and in one table I'm going to get the name from another and also the salary, and using that salary I'll determine which grade it is falling, and the information is there in this sal grade table about the grade, and I need to do again, since I'm going to get the data from this two table, then I must have to select from EMP and sal grade. But here is a difference between the previous thing that we learned whenever we are giving that example of employee and department versus to solve to this problem. So this problem can be solved by this query. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting employee name, salary and grade again from two table employee and sal grade, where what I did is e.sal, so means this value e.sal is the cell between the sal grades low sal and high sal. Right? So if this condition satisfied, then whatever the value that the grade is coming, so that will be my S grade. Okay, here it is similar to the join that we discussed in the last type, like simple join or equijoin, but here there is no equality sign. Alright, so here the operator is something called between and, therefore this is called non-equijoin. Okay, so basically essentially non-equijoin where you don't have an equality sign. Similarly, you can have greater than, less than, and that will be is type of non-equijoin. Okay, so this is a number 2 type of, second type of join. Okay, so now let's discuss something even more interesting. So if you see the employee table, we have this are my data, and in department table these are my data, and whenever I write this query in my simple join, so basically this is nothing but simple join that we have already discussed. So this is simple join we already discussed, and what I'm getting is I'm getting all the employee name and the place where they work. If you see in the employee table, there are no employee who works for department number 40. So there is a department number which is 40, Boston. You don't find any employee working for this department. So if we run this simple join, then since you don't have any employee, then you are not going to see anything here, any information about department number 40. But what I want here is, I want if there is no employee, then it should come null 40 operations and Boston. So is there any way, that I can write this query, rewrite this query, whatever is written here, so that the answers will tell me that okay, there is an operation department in Boston, but there is no employee. Okay, so in order to get that, so what we need to do, we need to apply a very simple thing. So look at this. In employee table, we do not have department. So this is, say, in this table. So this is basically what I have employee. This is what I am calling E, right? And this is what I am calling D. This is how do I alias them? Okay. So which, just first try to find out, and then this is your join condition, right? E dot department number is equal to E dot department number. So which side has less data, employee or department? Less data means where, so basically that means what I'm saying here, the department number 40 is available in this table, but department number 40 is not available here. So that means this table E is starving, or it's a less data, right? So it's less data, then what do? You just make a plus here. Okay, so you have two sides, right? So basically what I'm saying, that I'm just rewriting this part, the where condition, where E dot department number is equal to D dot department number. Okay, and this is table E employee, and this is table D. Since I have in this part of, on the left hand side it's less data, so therefore I just put a plus sign there. So if I put a plus sign, then it will give me the result, something that whatever I want. So it will give me 40 and then null. And if you want to take a look at the query should look like something like this. Okay, so the idea is that first find out where we have less data, and then which side has less data, and then put a plus there. Right, essentially this is called outer join. Okay, so this is number 3 type of join. Okay, so next question is that we are going to ask is again another interesting question. So if you see the employee table has employee name, employee number, e-name, and manager. So let's say employee number 7839 King, and he does not have the manager, so that means King is the boss. Okay, and then next employee is 7698, employee name is Black's manager is 7839. 7839 means is King, right? So basically what is happening is that Blake is reporting to King. Okay, then Clark. So Clark's manager is 7839. Again 7839 is King. So let's do this thing. So this is Clark and this is Black. And then Jones is 7839. So again Jones is also reporting to King. Okay, Martin is reporting to 7698. So 7698 is Black. So basically Martin is under Black. Okay, so essentially what happened is, in this table I can figure it out by analyzing the data, right? By analyzing the data I can figure it out that who is reporting to whom, who is his manager. So can you write a query that will display the employee name, like it will say display key, like King, since King doesn't have any manager, so it may not give anything. Then it will ask that Blake's manager is King, and then Martin's manager is, so Martin's manager is Blake. So basically what I'm looking forward is that write a query which is going to give me the employee name and their respective managers. Okay, so to solve this problem, let's think about this way. You consider employee table twice. Okay, same employee table. Let's say first one is E1 and second one is E2. In E1 what I have is, let's say I just consider this column. Okay, so manager column from employee 1 and employee number column from employee 2. If I join them, okay, if I join them, then I will get the answer. Okay, how do I get answer? So okay, so let's basically take a look at the query. So in that way it will be better to explain. Alright, so what I do is I select employee E1's ename, works for E2's ename, this table's ename as a manager, from employee E1, employee E2. Basically I'm just trying to, like, same table, E1 and E2 are the, E1 is one table, but I'm trying to imagine are there two different table, and then what I'm joining is I'm joining E1.mgr to E2.emp number. Okay, so essentially what I'm doing, I'm joining the same table. Okay, and this is basically called self join. Okay, so this is the last type of join. Okay, so what we discussed in this chapter is these types of join. So join is basically something that is going to help you to get data from different tables, and then the first type of join that we learn is this one. Since equal sign we call equijoin, somebody calls simple join, natural join, inner join. They're all of them are same. Then also is a Cartesian join. So Cartesian join is this one without any where condition. Okay, then we discuss about outer join. So outer join is that additional thing that we need to have, and we added a plus here. Alright, and then we discuss about non-equijoin. So example that I want to know the employee and the salary grade in which he's at. And the last one is self join, which I discussed if I want to find out who is the manager of an employee. So with this we completed the join in SQL, in Oracle SQL. Join is one of the very important thing, and you need to understand to write really complex queries.